All right, we arrived in Shoreditch, and then we're on Shoreditch High Street, which is their main street, also called Old Street. Thank you for joining me on another adventure here on this 9th largest island in the world. Today we're going to be checking out the neighborhood of Shoreditch on the east end of London. A neighborhood I can already tell that's got lots of flavor. This does kind of feel like Bermondsey a little bit, but it feels like Bermondsey maximized. It looks busier and a lot more crowded than Bermondsey, a lot more things going on. I would guess maybe 20 or 30 years ago, this place probably looked a lot like Bermondsey looks today. I think historically, London's east side was more working class and poorer, but this is pretty close to central London, and I think now anything close to central London is pretty pricey, and now this looks upscale and trendy. But you don't get the beautiful architectural buildings here that we saw on the west end of London. And I believe London's West End has always been the wealthy part, and you get those beautiful old architectural buildings. And also, I think London's West End is better preserved. It was always residential, and it was not a military target during World War II, and I believe the East End of London was more industrial, so it was heavily bombed during World War II, so some of the architecture here is not as well preserved, and that's my understanding. I guess this is trendy, is what this looks like. Younger. The wall of mirrors. See, it says mind your head. So instead of watch your head, they say mind your head. You gotta duck down. And there's this room with a bunch of mirrors. This is Shoreditch, East London. A lot fancier than I imagine East London to be. I would say it's kind of hip and trendy. A lot of nice places, nicely dressed people. Younger on average, but hip and cool, hip and trendy, I guess is the description. If central London is not cool enough for you, you can come here. Go to a cooler place, more hip, more trendy, be more cool. If you're in the right demographic and you got the proper drip, this might be a nice place for you to hang out and spend some time in. This is so close to central London that cool people in their 20s can work in central London and live here and hang out here. They never even go to the West End because they don't want to run into their boss there. And they never have to worry about running into their boss here because their boss lives on the West End and he's not cool enough to go to Shoreditch. There's a special place. That people don't know about unless you know somebody that knows somebody. Now look, there's an American car wash. Yeah, in general I've noticed a lot of American themes. Also in terms of clothing. I've seen a number of people walking around with like LA Lakers t-shirts and Los Angeles t-shirts or USA t-shirts. For some reason California and LA stuff seems to be popping up everywhere, and New York too. I was thinking maybe I just noticed it because I'm from there, but it's pretty much everywhere, especially New York, LA, and California, and also like Florida stuff, Miami. Just people kind of wear it on their clothing and things like that. It's kind of surprising to see LA Lakers gear in London. Don't really see a lot of LA Dodgers, or LA Rams. I don't think they're big American football fans. So I think this was one of the nicest parts of east side of London. I'm not going to go further east. I just wanted to get a taste of the east side, and this definitely does have a different feel than the west end of London. You definitely don't get all the tourists taking pictures of beautiful buildings like you see on the west end. Mexican restaurant. Indian food again. Anyway, Shoreditch, just like a lot of old rundown industrial parts of a lot of cities in the 1990s, it offered an affordable place to live, which attracts artist types, creative types, young people that move in. And then after they move in, the area starts to get gentrified, cool places open up, the area becomes hip, trendy, more upscale. And I think that's what happened here. It actually reminds me a lot of a LA East Side neighborhood called Silver Lake. Has a similar vibe. This definitely feels more like a locals neighborhood. The West End felt like it had a lot of visitors like myself, and I think it also has a lot of maybe part-time international residents. We've all heard about those fancy flats and places like Knightsbridge and other places on the West End. Some of them that are owned by shell companies in offshore destinations and sit mostly vacant a large part of the year. And its real owners might come in and stay there temporarily while they go shopping in London. But I don't think much of that really happens on the east side of London here. You can bring your own wine and beer and open it for £5. There's some of the restaurants here. You get a burger for £10 or margarita for $12. So it sounds like there's more average, regular type of places on this end of Shoreditch. When we first came in, we saw a lot of really upscale, fancy kind of places. And of course, on the west end of London, there's a lot of high-end restaurants. I'm not sure where a lot of people go when they get older and outgrow Shoreditch, but I think they might go to places like Reading. I passed it on the way to Bath, and it seems like there's more open space and construction going on there. Looks like another Mexican restaurant in Oaxaca. So I've seen these signs that say off license. I'm not sure what that means, but I usually see those signs in front of like liquor stores, say off license. So we're on Old Street and we're next to a garbage truck. This part of Shoreditch looks more regular. I guess the fancy part was when we first got in. Mostly bars and some restaurants. Old Street is pretty wide here, almost looks more like a typical American street. Ping pong bar. Cool. Ping pong bar. Regular bar. Live music. Looks like there's plenty of options to go out here. More hip and trendy and less posh, I guess would be the word. That's more West London, I guess. Alright guys, I'm gonna walk back to the bus station and I think we're gonna go back a couple more stops and we're gonna get to the tube station in this London rain. Alright guys, we're off the bus. I'm gonna catch the underground. We're at St. Paul station. I'm gonna go down and catch the train. So it just sprinkled a little bit. It didn't really rain hard. I don't think it really rains hard here, at least not from what I've experienced. So even though they drive on the left-hand side, when you're on an escalator, you're supposed to stand on the right-hand side so people pass you on the left-hand side. So at first I was thinking you got to stand on the left-hand side so people pass on the right, but it's the opposite of that. You still stand towards the right side and then people walk by you on the left side. Learned that a couple days after being here, so just keep that in mind. So it looks like I went to the wrong tube station. When I got off the bus, two ladies said tube station is down here, but this is for a different line. But I can still get to my line. We just have to switch over at Notting Hill. We are right here at St. Paul's on the Central line. So I'm gonna take it to Notting Hill, Notting Hill, and then switch over to the Green Line. I think I was supposed to go to this one here. Well, I'm back at the train station next to my hotel. It's a rainy night, but it's not raining heavily. It looks like the rains here are pretty light, and you're getting the London experience. It's Shoreditch and Bermondsey, and I gotta say the Tower Bridge area and Buckingham Palace and all the touristy spots, they felt familiar, like I've been there before. And I think that's because you see him so much on TV, etc. But Bermondsey and Shoreditch, they felt different. They felt like a new experience. I haven't really seen them on TV or anything. I've only seen pictures of the street with the bridges we were on in Bermondsey. So walking around there, it felt like a different new experience. So I'm glad we did that. It's getting late, so I'm going to call it a night for tonight. And tomorrow's another day. So it looks like it's raining really heavily now. I guess I was wrong that the rains are not too heavy because it's pouring down real hard. And I'm realizing I got back at the right time. Otherwise I would have been caught in that pouring rain. So I'm glad to be back in the hotel lobby. Gonna get some tea and go up, and tomorrow's another day.